In an age that feels dominated by online outrage, here's the big question. Can we actually engineer generosity? That's the powerful idea we're digging into today. It's a concept called infectious generosity, and it's all about making goodness go viral on purpose.
Yeah, this quote probably hits home for a lot of us, right? It feels like that early, hopeful promise of a connected world. Well, it's been kind of overshadowed by something a lot darker.
The very platforms that were designed to bring us closer together often end up amplifying division, outrage, and just plain negativity instead. They're built for virality, and let's be honest, anger just seems to travel way faster than anything else these days. And that really is the central question, isn't it? Are we just stuck in this cycle for good, or can we use the exact same tools that spread all that negativity to instead spread something genuinely positive?
Okay, so what's the potential answer here? It's an idea that's designed to spread, infectious generosity. And what's cool about this is that it frames giving not just as, a nice thing to do, but as an actual strategic tool.
The key phrase here, the one I really want you to hear, is intentionally designed. This isn't about just hoping a good deed gets noticed. Nope. It's about engineering it from the very start to create this massive ripple effect.
And this really gets to the core shift in thinking. Look, a random act of kindness is a wonderful thing, for sure, but its impact is usually pretty limited. A designed act of generosity, though, well, that's built to be seen, to be copied, and to be shared, which multiplies its impact in a huge way.
So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, if you want to engineer goodness, you're gonna need a playbook. And here are the core principles.
It turns out that for generosity to really catch fire, it needs to follow 3 simple but really powerful design principles. First, people have to see it. It's got to be visible. Second, it has to be easy enough for other people to replicate. And third, it needs to be wrapped in a story that people can't wait to share.
Okay, to make this really concrete, let's look at this real-world story. There was a single barber in London who decided to use his skills to help people who were living on the streets. And he didn't just do it quietly, he did it right out in the open, and he shared the stories of the people he met.
So what happened? His act was visible, it was easy to understand, and it was a deeply shareable story. And it inspired hundreds of other professionals. We're talking dentists, lawyers, you name it, to offer their own services for free. His one act became a whole movement, all because it was perfectly designed to spread.
Now, this brings up a really important question. It's easy to hear this and think, oh, this is just for people with a lot of money to give away. But that view is just way too limited.
In fact, money is only one tiny piece of the puzzle. We all have at least one of these other assets. You can give your focused attention to someone. You can connect 2 people who you know could help each other. You can share a skill you have, or you can just offer some simple encouragement. These are all incredibly powerful forms of generosity that don't cost a dime. All right, so what if this idea really took off? It paints a pretty hopeful picture, doesn't it? But it's also really important to be realistic here and take a hard look at the potential pitfalls, too. Just imagine for a second. Imagine social media algorithms actually rewarding uplifting content. Imagine giant corporations competing not just on profits, but on who can design the most infectious act of public good. Imagine crowdfunding platforms built to maximize ripple effects, not just the initial donation. That's the potential scale we're talking about here.
But of course, it's not that simple. Any big idea like this is going to have some skepticism around it, and to really get it, we have to look at those critiques.
So on one hand, the approach gets praised for being inspiring and really practical. But on the other hand, it's also criticized for sometimes feeling a bit superficial. Critics argue that focusing so much on individual acts can distract from much deeper systemic problems, and that the super optimistic tone can sometimes feel more like a motivational speech than a serious analysis.
This quote really captures the heart of that critique. It basically asks, can individual acts of kindness, no matter how well designed, truly solve problems that are systemic? And that's a really valid concern. Of course, proponents would probably argue that these designed acts aren't meant to replace systemic change, but to build the cultural momentum that's needed to demand it.
So, with all that in mind, the potential and the pitfalls, who is this playbook actually for? Who can get the most value out of thinking this way?
Well, the source material suggests it's especially powerful for people whose work involves getting others mobilized. Like community organizers or people in nonprofits. But it's also for creators who want their work to have a positive impact, and really for any of us who feel a little overwhelmed by all the negativity and are just looking for a practical, hopeful way forward.
And ultimately, the big takeaway is this. The goal isn't about moral purity or trying to become some kind of saint. It's about being effective. It's a huge mindset shift from simply doing good to actively designing good, so it has the absolute best chance to grow and inspire others.
And that's the final thought we'll leave you with. This whole framework encourages us to reframe that fundamental question. It moves us beyond just asking about ourselves and pushes us to think like designers and engineers and storytellers, all in the service of making good ideas and good deeds as infectious as they can possibly be.